Ben Zobrist may be one of the most valuable players in Major League Baseball history. Even saying that, my guess is that most of you don't even know who Ben Zobrist is. Even further, you don't know what team he played for or what positions he played. Let me explain to you why Ben Zobrist is so significant. According to MLB.com in 2009, Ben played for the Tampa Bay Rays. During that year, he played in 152 games, had almost 600 plate appearances. That's not what is significant. The significant piece is this. Ben played 7 positions that year, and of those 7 positions, 3 of them he played more than 10 games. 1 of them he played 91 games. So you're saying to yourself, so what? Here's what. Only 3 other players in Major League Baseball history let me explain. During that year, he had a WAR, which is wins above replacement, of 9. I'm not going to do a deep dive on this, but essentially, his productivity that year caused him to help his team win 9 games than anyone else who played in multiple positions. You're thinking, so what, Dan? Only 3 players in Major League Baseball history played more than 10 games at 3 positions and had that kind of success in their season. Those players were Cody Bellinger, Babe Ruth, and Stan Musial. Now, if you're a baseball fan, you'll know that 2 of those gentlemen are in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Baseball is great. What does that have to do with our lives? Let me explain some more. My topic is about utility, but when I talk about utility, I talk about the value of having variable and broad experiences. David Epstein wrote a book called called Range, where he talked about the value of having a broad background in your career. In Epstein's book, he actually goes and talks about 2 individuals that I know you've heard of. One of them is Tiger Woods. Who here has heard of Tiger Woods? I thought so. Tiger Woods was a specialist. When Tiger was 2, his father cut off the golf clubs, took Tiger out to the golf course, and Tiger became a phenomenon, one of the most celebrated golfers in history. Another experience, or another person, is Roger Federer. Now, if there's a slide back there that shows Roger Federer and Tiger and Bo Jackson, we've got the right slide. Do we, Saul?
It doesn't, yes.
Now do we?
Well, it doesn't show Federer, it shows the other 2 guys.
Whatever. So, Roger Federer took a much different path to his success. Federer swam, he played tennis, he played badminton, he was a skateboarder, he was also a soccer player. All of that before he decided to settle on tennis. A third player that some of you may have heard of is Bo Jackson. Who here has heard of Bo Jackson? I thought so. So you would all know that Bo Jackson played for Auburn University, and he was the Heisman Trophy winner. Also played in the NFL All-Star Game. How many of you would remember that Bo Jackson also played professional baseball, and he was also in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game? Very few individuals have done both of those. The third thing about Bo Jackson is he was a multiple-time state champion in track and field. So he was not someone who specialized only in one area. So we've looked at athletics. Athletics is great. Let's talk about the world of work. Someday we will see that photo. But anyway, my background is in physics. I have a degree in engineering physics. I'm a low voltage electrical engineer. My first 12 years I worked in manufacturing in the automotive industry, and then I also worked in the appliance industry. I enjoyed being a technical manager. The challenge was I liked doing other things. I pivoted and changed my career completely in 1994. I got another degree in human resource development at Vanderbilt University. I went from being a technical leader to someone who is helping other people learn about leadership. For the next 8 years, I worked in the human resources field. But then I got the itch to be an entrepreneur. And in 2006, I gave up my day job and became an executive search consultant and leadership consultant. Now, we've heard people talk about stress. There's nothing more stressful than giving up your paycheck and your retirement and actually going out and earning your own living. And during that period of time, I learned a lot, but I would also say that I really valued that. And now at age 65, I've never been happier in my life. So my point is this: throughout my career, I've done many different things. There's been a broad background of experiences. There are a lot of things that I've learned from having that broad background of experiences. Let me explain to you what those are. The first thing I've learned is that our career evolves. And as we go through our career, we change, just like what you see here. You may start, and in fact, many of you here are students. You may get a degree in a scientific area. You may change and decide to do something else. There's nothing wrong with that. Life is about learning, and you should feel free to do that. The second thing is that volunteerism has really played a huge part in my life. I've been very fortunate because the volunteer activities that I've been involved with have helped me learn things I would have never learned in my day job. I volunteered with the YMCA, with Scouting, my fraternity, and then I've also been a volunteer for the ACE Mentor program, which helps students learn about architecture, construction, and engineering. I would have never learned how to raise money. I would have never built many relationships, and many of whom ended up being clients, but also lifelong relationships through that volunteer work. The third thing is, we've all already heard about this also from other speakers, you need to get out of your comfort zone and you need to really expand your life. I've had the opportunity to do work in Kuwait, in India, in Great Britain, and also in Japan. And it's really amazing. You really can never understand where you live until you see it from the outside in. So all of those experiences have really helped build me into the person I am today. Another person I want to share information about is a former president, Jimmy Carter. Mr. Carter passed away in January. This photo is from his time at the United States Naval Academy. What many of you won't know, unless you're of a certain age, is that the Carter family was in the peanut farming business. So Jimmy grew up in the farming business. He then went to the United States Naval Academy, spent 7 years as a naval officer before he ever got involved in politics. Again, a very broad, diverse background. That, coupled with his faith, made him a great leader. So you're saying, why does this really matter? The point is this: when you're going through your life, it's not where you are, it's not what you've done, but it's where you're going. Stephen Covey used the phrase, begin with the end in mind. As you're looking at doing something as you move forward in your career, don't think about what you've done, think about where you're going. Another example of that is Ron Shack. Ron Shack is the former CEO of Panera. He's now the chairman of Cava. Ron Shack came up with the phrase pre-mortem. Now, if I say post-mortem, you all know what a post-mortem is. Post-mortem is after the fact. Ron Shack says every year he does a pre-mortem where he wants to look at what he wants to do and what he wants to focus on for the coming year. So very much like what Stephen Covey said, they're always looking ahead and not thinking about where you've been. So why does this matter? Your career is not going to be a straight line journey. It's not going to be easy. We've heard people talk about discomfort. There's a book called The Comfort Crisis written by Michael Easter. Any of you read that book? The Comfort Crisis is amazing, and it's very useful because we live in a society where we crave comfort. That is exactly the wrong thing. I would say that's the same thing you need to consider in your career. You need to think about what can you do that will put you in an area where you become uncomfortable and you have to learn and grow, because you're not going to grow from doing the same thing over and over. You need to change and you need to experience different things. Also, the road to success is gonna have many twists and turns. You never know when you may run into an obstacle or a barrier. And again, I talked about the value of relationships through the work I'd done in volunteerism. Many of the things that I've done, many of the obstacles and barriers I've had to overcome, I've gotten aid from friends who I've actually worked with or supported or helped along the way. So my encouragement to you tonight is to think ahead about where you want to go, learn from what you've done, and build relationships, because you never know when a friendship you've made today could be beneficial to that person tomorrow or to you in the future to come. Thank you very much.